What's up guys, Anfield here. Welcome back to a new video. Hope you're having a great weekend. So today's video we're going to be finishing off the garage overview video series, which is basically just the premium tanks that we have remaining. And of course premium tanks aren't exactly my favorite vehicles in the game. I just don't really enjoy playing them all that much. I mean, in general tier 8 I don't really enjoy that much. It's okay. It's not as fun at tier 9 and 10 I guess. Maybe it'll be more fun with the new matchmaker, who knows. Either way, short of like playing the IS3, which is just like super fun to play, tier 8 is meh, which is a shame because, if you do like playing premiums, it's great to make money off premiums, and if I enjoy playing premiums, I would have tons of credits in my hangar. Unfortunately, I prefer playing tier 10s, and often I run rations and I drain all those credits. So yeah, rip. But anyway, premiums. The first one I have here is the Fury, which I only got actually recently, not when it was released. I think Meathead gave it to me. I don't know why. I haven't played that many battles in it, but what little I do remember of the battles I did play is that the DPM is really nice and it's kind of nifty to play. I guess if you were a collector, it would be a cool tank to get, but although if you don't have it already, whether you'd ever be able to get it again, I don't really know, because obviously it was promotional for when the movie came out. So I don't really know if you'd be able to get it again, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's kind of fun, I guess, but, not really for me, because tier 6 and premium, it's a big no-no. So yeah, I don't really play it all that often at all. So yeah, rip. But if you're a collector, I think it would be definitely worth having, and I think the actual tank does perform pretty decently in its tier. So next up we have the Super Pershing, which was actually buffed not all that long ago, but it's slow. It does have pref, which is a nice bonus. Preferential matchmaking is still cool, I guess. But I don't know, the Super Pershing just, I don't really see the point to it. The armor is okay, but like most people know where to pen the tank, and it's only when people don't know that you really get away with anything in this tank. It's incredibly slow. The pen on the gun is really low, although it does have pref, which is okay in that sense for having low pen, but it's still meh. I don't know. Yeah, it's okay. There's not really much to say about it. It's one of those tanks that maybe you'd get it if you really, really wanted it, but otherwise you don't really have a great reason to get it over the Patriot, for example. Where the Patriot doesn't have pref, it's still fine, and with the new matchmaker, that'll be really, really quite strong, considering tier 8s are only likely to ever see 3 tier 10s rather than those games where you're a tier 8 and there's like 12 tier 10s. So that's not going to happen. So yeah, I think that weakens preferential matchmaking tanks even further. So is there a point to this tank? Yeah, probably not. Moving on to the M46KR. Now, this actually, I do enjoy this tank, actually. I think it's quite cool. This tank was introduced along with the Mutts just before the new wave of premiums we've recently been getting. And actually, when this was released, I was like, this is an okay tank. It's basically a Pershing in many ways, but a little bit different. But it's still a pretty solid tank, pretty fun to play. No preferential matchmaker or anything like that. None of the modern premiums have that. But it's really fun because the gun handling works really well. You have the gun depression, you can play it on the hills. So it's not a bad little tank, actually, and I don't mind it too much. And if you really wanted it, I mean, I guess it would be worth getting. A little bit high skill cap compared to some premiums, but you're still dealing with the low penetration. That's the biggest downside to this type of tank, is similar pen to the Super Pershing, but without preferential matchmaker to protect it from tier 10s. So it does struggle a little bit. This is the Grand Final Bulldog, and it's actually pretty good. Not gonna lie, the gun is actually really fun. It's nothing like the other Bulldog at tier 7, with the 10 rounds of autoloader. This has heat and kind of good pen on the heat, and the alpha's decent. It's not like 100. You can also see the average damage isn't that bad actually, if you can get it out. So it's not a bad little tank, actually. I don't have a great crew in it, but it still performs pretty well. And I guess definitely if you were a collected tank, it's worth getting. I don't really think it'll be sold at this year's Grand Finals. I think they'll make new tanks. So maybe it's too late. But this was probably the first time you'd ever seen black camo on a tank, which is, you can see it here. And then we got the Black Friday deals in those tanks, and they put black camo on it, and I was just like, okay. See, this is the primary thing. You look at these tanks that they're like, oh, let's put black camo, which is completely unhistorical as far as I'm aware. And I look at these and I think, well, if you're gonna go this far, why not sell camouflage skins that are based on the esports teams? If you're gonna do this anyway, right? So yeah, I think Wargaming are missing a big potential market for selling some of the esport camos. I think a lot of them look really cool. You know, put some of the money towards the actual pools for the tournaments for the teams to play for, and some of it goes to sellers, some of it obviously wargaming. But unfortunately, I haven't done that. But if you're gonna go as far as make tanks black, why not go the extra mile? I mean, you could even allow people to disable these extra special camos. But yeah. Anyway. Then we have the Mutts, which, similar to the KR, has really good gun handling, pretty good gun depression. This tank's pretty fun too. I actually prefer this tank a little bit more than the KR, but I actually think this tank is really fun to play in a lot of ways, and I don't actually mind playing it. I haven't played it really that much. How many battles do I have in this tank? 38. So yeah, I haven't really played it all that much since the new edition of the new premiums we've been getting, but it's still pretty fun, and I wouldn't be like loath to take it out at all or anything like that. It's pretty good. I mean, there's no premium that I own that I've ever respected enough to try hard any games in, but you know, I still think this tank is worth the effort if you're interested in it. But again, kind of like the KR, it's kind of you know, a little bit high skill cap. You do have more penetration, which is really nice, which is why I think this tank is a little bit better than the KR. But yeah, it's pretty fun. So it doesn't make bad credits, but because it's like low alpha and, you know, relying on DPM, these premiums generally don't make many credits, even if the premium or the shells, sorry, are really cheap, because you often end up having to use the APCR anyway, and then you know, look at the difference, 300, 4400. And so something to consider when you're buying premiums is how much money you're going to make with the tank, as well as how good or fun the tank is. And unfortunately, with these low alpha guns, they're just not nearly as good as making money. But speaking about alpha, then we next have the Rheinmetall Scorpion G, and yeah, I mean, I think that's silly. Look at the DPM difference. I think that's silly considering your alpha. I think if you have alpha and you know, you can snipe at the back with massive alpha, I think you should be punished with worse DPM. But that's I don't think that's acceptable. But you know, there we go. That's where we're at. This tank is really super good. If you don't own this tank and you're looking for a new premium, and specifically if you need a tier 10, sorry, well, I guess I was gonna say tier 10 crew trainer, but I meant to say a crew trainer for your tier 10 TDs. But yeah, it might be worth it if you're going up the German TD line, and you know you need one in that case as well the fact that it just makes tons of money. I mean, let's have a look at the 1,000 per shot. So yeah, it makes a lot of money when it packs a punch, and fortunately it has high penetration, 246, which is, you know, pretty standard for premium tanks, or tank destroyers. I'll get there in the end. 311 APCR pen is also really quite good. So yeah, it has a lot going for it, this tank. It's obviously very squishy. It doesn't have great camouflage value, but it's very quick. And the gun is, you know, packs a big punch. And I played quite a few battles in this. I think I played it more recently to try and, yeah, 96 battles. I played it more recently to try and do TD missions, as well as some other of my TDs at tier 8, but no luck so far. I finally started doing some attempts at TD Object 260 missions after putting them off for a really long time. But anyway, yeah, this tank is really good. I enjoy it more than the Borsig, and yeah, if you're looking for a premium, this is ever on sale. It's definitely worth it if you don't have it, and you know this is your kind of thing. Definitely go for it. Now the Ruddy, I haven't actually played that many games in it, so I can't really talk too much about it. It has a dog, so I guess that's kind of cool. Yeah, other than that though, I mean, I don't know what else to say about this tank. The DPM is pretty good for the tier. And yeah, it's a T34-85, I guess, unless I'm mistaken. And yeah, I mean, it just plays like that basically. It's pretty good though, but I can't really speak of the credit earning capacity of the tank because, yeah, I don't really. I mean, lower tiers, obviously, they're not going to make as much money as the tier 8 premiums, so yeah. T54 first prototype. This tank is actually really worth when it first came out, and I actually really enjoyed it. The added depression of a Russian medium was like, whoa, you know. At the time, it was crazy, and the pen is really bad, which is one of the biggest downsides to this tank. So I apologize for the cut, but there was a buzz on the apartment, so I had to go check the door. So I just restarted it, but I'm not sure exactly where I got to, actually. Obviously, I got distracted, so I'm not exactly sure what I stopped talking about, but I guess the remainder, I would just say the T54 Mod 1 is kind of unique and cool to have. As a credit earner, it's not great due to low penetration, although the rounds are super cheap at 252, so that's nice, but you're going to use a lot of APCR, so is that really nice? I don't know. But the armor is super fun, and it plays really well in hills, which is kind of unique for Russian tanks, so in that sense, it's kind of worth it, but certainly one of those tanks you probably only pick up if you like collecting premium tanks. Otherwise, nah. I guess you could also say that it's a pretty good Russian medium crew trainer, so it has that going for it. So if you need that, then, you know, maybe go for it, you know, especially if you want a more unique tank in that sense. So next we have the Defender, a pretty controversial tank for a few reasons, I guess. I mean, a lot of people seem to really overreact about the armor, which is not nearly the strongest part of the tank. The strongest part is the gun, man. I mean, the DPM is really quite good considering the alpha, and then you have really high pen. But people really obsess about the armor, which is a pike nose. So, you know, yes, this is unpennable when it's frontally facing you, this bit here. But you can pen the lower plate. You can pen the hatches. I mean, I don't know. And if it angles, this isn't exactly protected. So, yeah, if you shoot that, you might bounce. But just shoot under the track, just like the IS-7. Yeah, I don't know. The armor is very underwhelming, in my opinion. Pike noses are very difficult to use effectively. That being said, the gun is super nice, and the speed is cool too. Having that kind of speed is nice, but it's the alpha, man. I mean, the alpha makes this tank, and that also means it's going to make a lot of money. 440 alpha with 1,025 per shot, with that kind of pen, that's really good. People really, I think, overreacted about this tank a lot, in the sense that it's very good, and if it was a standalone tank, then yes, you know, overreact, but ultimately, like, the Liberté, the Low, the Patriot, the Scorpion, they're all comparable in some way to this tank. These new wave premiums are just way better. Like, for example, when we move on to this tank, this is awful now. The IS-6 is terrible. Yes, it has pref, but 175 with that kind of reload, it's not. I mean, you have to use the APCR, and the APCR is terrible. The APCR premium on this is worse than this tank. And look at the damage per shot, still the same. So, you know, the pref doesn't save this tank. It's terrible. The armor is terrible. I mean, this is just way better. So that's where you have the problem with the premiums. You either nerf these ones back into line with the others, or you have to buff all the others, such as the Super, Pershing, the Kara, the Mutts, Mod 1, IS-6, FCN, you know, these tanks are just better, so, you know, but don't unjustly focus on just this tank. If you've got a problem with these kind of premiums, you have to focus on all of them. I think this tank drew a lot of criticism, maybe because it was Russian, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, either way, whatever way you're looking at it, these are the tanks. Those tanks that I mentioned, those are the best premiums. If you're looking for a premium, you don't have one, you don't need a specific crew trainer, these are the premiums you go for, guys, because these are so good. I would also say that the Lorraine 40T, but I haven't personally played it, but it looks really, really nice. Kind of want to get it, but like also I don't want to spend that money on another premium that I won't play that often. So yeah, I haven't gone for it for that reason. Moving on though to Liberté. This is actually my favorite premium. I think it's really fun. I like the handling. I like the armor. It's basically a Tiger 2, but what the Tiger 2 should have been if it wasn't such a garbage tank. So yeah, it's fun in that way. You know, it's French Tiger 2 basically. Really, really nice. The armor's really nice. You know, you have the hatch, which is a bit of an issue frontally, and the sides are really weak if they can get to them, but the frontal armor is really, really good. The gun handling's really nice. The alpha's not bad, considering, you know, 300 is pretty good. The pen is really nice. Excuse me. So yeah, it's a really nice tank. The only thing I would say is that the alpha isn't nearly as good. It's 140 less than the Defender, yet the shell cost is comparable, so it sucks in a lot of ways, but otherwise it's a really, really fun tank, and I actually really do enjoy playing this tank. So we have the FCM, and yeah, I mean, I wanted to love the FCM, but it's just too slow as what it's being marketed as. You know, it struggles a little bit. Like, you think it's going to be really fast, like CDC, and it's not. So then it's like, it's okay fast, but it's like, it's really not that fast. The Defender is like similar speeds. The gun handling should be way better than it is. The gun is actually really bad, considering, like, the CDC gun is actually really accurate. But I would also say this tank is probably more accurate on, you know, I don't know if it's more accurate on paper. We can have a look. But it certainly feels more accurate. So we have Yeah, they're actually very similar. The only thing, this has quicker aim time, but the dispersion is very similar between the two guns, and they shouldn't be. This gun should have really nice stats, considering the tank is completely paper. Yes, it does have preferential matchmaker, but like it's cheese and it's huge. So yeah, I mean, once upon a time this was a good tank, but now it's certainly been power creeped, which is kind of a shame. But yeah. So then we have the Type 59, which of course. Oh, by the way, if you get triggered by that and you prefer it to be Type 59, I do apologize, but you know, you got to pick and choose how you can pronounce things, because you know, you say the T110E5, you don't say T110E5. So I don't really understand what the logic is between what people decide to pronounce certain tanks as. So yeah, I apologize. I'm going to say Type 59, but if that triggers you, I'm sorry, I guess. This is the legendary tank as far as premiums are concerned. When it was first released, it was like everyone was playing this tank, and it was like 10 per battle. So they had to stop selling it. And then they sort of like, I guess they, I don't know. I mean, they nerfed it quite a bit, and it's bad now, basically. I mean, it's playable, but like, it's really not that great. But people are still obsessed with this tank. They're like, oh my god, I must have it. I guess as a collector, I get it, but well, I don't get it because I don't collect tanks, but you know, I get why you might want to keep it as a collector, but otherwise it's really super duper overrated. So, you know, if you want it just to have it gather dust, be my guest, I guess, but it's not that good. I mean, it has preferential matchmaker, but again, like we were explaining, it's really not that great of a thing these days. Yeah, I don't know. It's just legendary, I guess, because it's rare now and they don't sell it. I don't know. To be honest with you, the Mutant 6 was much rarer than this tank, but well. So then we have the STRVS1, which when I first got this tank, I was absolutely wasted. So that was amusing. It's basically, obviously, the perfect crew trainer and practice tank for the Swedish tank destroyers. So in that sense, it's actually really worth. So if you want to practice the siege mode, DPM is really nice. The pen is really nice. The alpha is just short of 400s. That's nice. The accuracy is really nice. It is basically an UDES as a premium. So, you know, if you want it, I would maybe look at getting it, because in that sense, it's actually pretty worth to get this tank. It does make decent credits. It's probably a little bit more difficult to play than a Scorpion, but, you know, so are a lot of tanks. So yeah, it's kind of worth it in that sense, and it will make you good credits if you're good at using it. I mean, ultimately, it's another tank that you can just sit in a bush all game and just snipe, so yeah. The last tank I want to talk about, I actually don't own anymore. I meant to hit service record. Where are we? Tier 8, right. I've sold this tank a while ago, but it's the KV5, and it's terrible now, but I just want to give it an honorable mention because it has my highest ever XP game. So yeah, maximum experience 3259. So there you go. Honorable mention to the KV5. 8,000 damage I did with it once. So I just wanted to sort of throw it out there, give it its moment in the spotlight since I don't own it anymore. Although also I could say the SU-12244, which I don't know if they still sell. This tank is second highest, 3154. So yeah, but that's premiums, guys. I mean, I could talk about the tier 8s, I guess, if you're interested, but there's not much to say. The IS-3 is god tier. I love it. It's the best tier 8 tank in the game, even with the new premiums. The lightweight will be tier 9 soon, so. And then you have the Borsig, which I still own because I need TD missions being done. So yeah, that's why I have this tank. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up the video, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. I apologize for the cuts, but there you go. Can't really predict when people are going to come. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you on the next video.